This is a tutorial on how to install PyTorch with just the CPU, not using the GPU and not using CUDA. You might need to use a CPU version only if you have an older system. I'm intentionally using an older system here to have the widest audience for the tutorial. I'm running an i7-6800, which is quite old. It does have 6 cores, I think. 6 physical cores, and then there's 6 virtual cores. The bigger problem is my graphics card is quite old. I just played some old games on it. So you do LSPCI, then pipe it into grep-i VGA. I'm running a GeForce GTX 950. This is not going to give me very much advantage over just the CPUs. So we're just going to use the CPUs. You may have heard of PyTorch. Maybe you haven't used it. This is perfect for you. This posting came out from LinkedIn recently about the fastest growing roles in the United States. Of course, the first one is AI engineer, and it does list PyTorch as well as LangChain, which is pretty common, and RAG, which is taking the data and making it more accessible to the LLM. But let's just focus on this PyTorch one here. So of the top 5 roles, there's this other one, AI ML researcher, which is probably, unless you're a student right now, maybe outside of your reach in the future, but it does list PyTorch again. So let's just play around with it and we can have some fun with it. We do use it in my game here, and it's not that hard to use. So I think just instead of explaining what it is, let's just install it and use it. The way we'll ultimately use PyTorch in this tutorial is through the sentence transformers package. So we just need to install it. However, if you install it in this way, in my experience, it's installing the GPU version of PyTorch, which is 4 gigs, and you may not have the GPU that can give you the advantage that you need. The GPU version of PyTorch is 4 gigs versus approximately 180 meg for the CPU version. Let's get started. I'm using UV. So UV is alternative to pip. I'm going to open up an editor on this and update my pyproject.toml. So in the pyproject.toml, I'm going to set up the specific directions to download PyTorch CPU. So we're going to directly specify to download from the CPU wheel of the pytorch.org. download.pytorch.org/WHL for the wheel CPU. And it did work on my system with the GPU. It's just that it was downloading 4 gigs of files, and there wasn't that much difference in the performance. Okay, now let's since we set up the PyProject.toml, let's try to install it. We add torch. Sentence. Transformers. Index. Strategy. Unsafe. Best map. We're not going to use it right now, but I'm going to install the Facebook AI similarity search with just the CPU as well. We'll touch on it in the next video. Also installing scikit learn scipy. And notice that the torch here is 180 megabytes, which is, it's much smaller than if you install the CUDA PyTorch. Of course, if you have a GPU that can handle it, it's better to install just the normal PyTorch, right? If you have a Mac M1, M2, M3, you should just install PyTorch. It can use the system GPU on the Mac with the integrated memory. Okay, let's source the, I'm using virtual environment. And so now it's running this version of Python that's in my local directory, or the root of my project, in the virtual environment. So let's give it a shot. If Torch will import it, and we'll check to see if torch.CUDA is available. And we don't want it to be available. And there's an error. Okay. Should be torch.CUDA dot is available. And it's false because there's no CUDA. Although I have an NVIDIA graphics card, there's no CUDA being used, which is what we want.